Made with Soul initiative. This was an initiative that began in 2015, and a lady by the name of Delani Bezadenhout visited us and said, look, I hear Netcare is very involved in sustainability initiatives. Would you be interested in recycling your intravenous drip bags because they're made of a toxic material called PVC? And in passing, she said to me, possibly we could also make shoes. My appeal is that we've handed out 328,000 pairs of shoes. And so my appeal is for South Africans to get together and come onto our website, mywalk.org.za, and donate the cost of a cappuccino. Maybe you can donate 10 shoes. Netcare, helping future leaders step into greatness. Visit mywalk.org.za to learn more. 702, let's walk the talk. WhatsApp Relebogile on 072 702 1702.
22 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we are talking about a very interesting thought that was shared by @internetopinions_Zaza on TikTok, who basically said to all the men that complain about women of today not being submissive enough, not being all the things their mothers and grandmothers were, are they aware that these women were raised by the same woman that they want them to be? That they were raised by those fathers who told them, Ewena, you need to become like this. And more importantly, have they actually had conversations with those women that they want their women to be like? Their grandmothers, their mothers, their aunts, to assess that was it favorable for you living the way that you were living? And I'm then asking as well of men as well. Are there ways that men are evolving that you would consider something not being so positive and making the connection to how it was they were raised? That are the men of today being raised in a way that the men, their forefathers, wanted them to be and become? 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. We go to Mamelo in Sandton. Hi, Mamelo.
Hi.
Yes.
I want to answer your question. I hope you're well. I don't want to have to waste time with kids.
Thank you.
Your question with regards to the question that you asked your previous caller, is it a good thing that men are now becoming dependent on women?
Yes.
And I think it would be a good thing if men didn't have toxic masculinity. And I say that because had men approached a woman being more like financially stable and also actually being the one that earns more and doesn't see that as a negative thing and doesn't take away from them and their masculinity, then it would be, for them, they would see it as a good thing. But today's men, and I overgeneralize, don't have a husband that feels that way. I feel like when men see a woman that is doing better than them, not just financially, in any aspect, they start seeing that as a strength because they have always been superior. Always been the ones that make the most money. They've always been the ones that get to live their lives and not have to sit at home and look after the kids. And that's why you get this mentality of fathers that are married in a happy, loving marriage. When they have to look after the children, they're not saying, I'm going to stay home with my children. They're saying, I need to babysit.
Yes. I also just had a thought as you were talking, Mamelo. I think the tricky part also for men is that their identity for a long time has been defined in relation to women. So they will say being a man is being a provider, a protector, of this. It does not speak independently of what it means to be a man outside of the existence of a woman. So now when a woman is protecting herself, providing herself, they say you're trying to be a man. No, protecting and providing are not unique traits because there are single mothers, for example, who need to protect their children and so maybe the question mark there is the being a man today. What does that mean? What does that look like outside of the existence of women? And thank you so much, Mamelo from Sandton, for that call. And let me know, I mean, as gents, you will be the ones to be able to say what makes you a man. I'm curious because I don't know. I don't have the answer to understand what does it mean to be a man outside of the existence of women, especially in modern times like today. Jimbo in Boksburg, how are you?
I'm I'm fine, and how are you?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting topic which I always. Yeah, it's yeah. You know what? Let me put it this way. Let's look at the olden days. Even when you grew up, you found that every woman wanted to be independent. I was listening to your conversation from the start when you started that the same woman who raised you was also saying this. You should not rely on a man. And what I've seen is that women, they want to be recognized. And by being recognized, they are making every effort to be identified and to make sure that they can do better than women, better than men. You understand? That's why you see we've got also equal rights. So this thing of women not submitting to their men or trying to be over, you know, I don't know. But what I can say is that we are learning a lot out of women, and they are also trying to make sure that they can do things better. But let me tell this: I don't know if I'll be out of the topic or whatever.
Wait, before you go there, I just want to understand. So your understanding is that women want to do better than men.
Yeah.
What does better mean? Do you mean like in relation to what? What does that mean?
Okay. What I'm just saying is that in whatever they do, if they see a man doing it, let me give a very good. A truck driver to see women driving trucks. Listen, that was a man's job. But now you find that a woman will say that I want also to drive you know. So women are challenging men. Let me put it that way. In whichever way they want to challenge a man, in whichever case.
So let me ask you something there. Because Jimbo, though, let me speak from my perspective as a woman. My perspective as a woman, I don't want to do better than men. I don't see something a man is doing and I want to challenge them. I just want to have the option to do what I want to do. That's it. So the fact that hear me out, because this has nothing to do. I want, as a human being, my human experience, for me to have options. That's my perspective. I'm not sitting here dreaming about doing better than some man. I just know that I don't want to be told I can't do something because I'm a woman. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you, but you say that you want to be independent because you don't want someone to tell you something.
Well, those are two different things, but independence does mean choice. So yes, having options means being independent.
Yes. Because, you know, if you are married to a man and then you're supposed to be submissive, it means that when we are saying things and then when I say something that, okay, as the head of the house, this is what I prefer and this is what I need. You understand? So if you don't want me to tell you that, or if you don't want to agree with me, at the end of the day, you will say, okay, I want to be independent because I don't want people to rule me, or I don't want people to say things what I don't want, and then I want to do things according freely without any people saying whatever.
No. So your example, I'm gonna rephrase your example. If you and I are married and you are the head of the household, right? And then you and I are at a crossroads about a decision that needs to be made. Your decision must not overrule mine on the basis of you being a man. That's it. So, yes, as in, if you and I are at a crossroads and we can't agree, the default must not be, well, seeing as the two of you can't agree, and Relebogile, you're the wife, you must submit. Therefore, Jimbo's route is correct. I'm saying that if you are my partner or my husband or head, whatever you want to call it, it must still be a discussion that we're going to figure it out together. That's it. Not that you, by default, get your way because you are a man. And I'm late for news, Jimbo. I would have loved to hear more, but we will continue when we come back. It's just after 1:30. Time for your latest eyewitness news. Headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Lebogile. Good afternoon.
That story he was telling me didn't make sense. Because I asked him, what does doing better mean?
Like, what was the name about? Sorry.
I get what I'm saying. We're talking about the roles of men and women and how they've evolved. So the guy whose clip I shared was saying, listen, all these men who complain about modern day women not being submissive, not being this, have you not realized that they were raised by the same woman you want them to be? Those women, your mothers and grandmothers, told their daughters, don't be like me. So you want them to be like their mothers, but their mothers don't even want them to be like them. So I'm asking the question to say, has that been considered in the same way that roles are evolving of men? That's a product of how they've been raised. So he said he was now bringing up the submissive thing, and he's saying women just want to be better. But I'm like, can a man tell me what being a man is outside of mentioning a woman? The same as, remember how the DA would always define themselves by what the ANC is not doing. Tell me who you are as a man outside, because everything provider protector is related to a woman. Take that out. What does being a man mean? So now men, I feel lost because your identity has always been related to a woman. So me being a provider is not a unique trait to being a man. It's a human trait. Being independent is a human trait.
100%. That's why I say, I'm surprised, but not surprised that you still get people like
Jimbo.
Well, at this stage in the Salby area, if you're heading towards Rivoli, you can expect about an hour delay. M2 west between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Also in Amalgam, traveling in and out of the Joburg CBD, traffic heavily backed up on Main Reef Road between Nazareth Road and Anderson. Boxburg, there's a bumper-to-bumper traffic on North Rand Road. This is between the R21 Rietfontein Road and Jet Park Road. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Edenville area at as well as in Midrand at Old Tour Road and Annandale. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
But the reason it resonated with me is because I never thought of it that way. Where it's like, some of you who are missing, our mothers and grandmothers, have you ever spoken to them to say, "Nekgolo monate na?"
But then some of them would say, "Khotelela wena." Khotelela ke monna hao.
So that I can be as miserable as you.
Live read on your screen.
All right.
Because you are getting into the crux of it.
The crux of?
The math.
Because,
But you're right, I agree.
like, I need explanations for certain things.
I think a lot of problems can be solved as we by just identifying each other as human first. You know?
Yes. And that's it.
That's it.
Can decisions not be made because Omona?
Live read on your screen.
The South African Future Trust Summit's premium entrepreneurial showcase returns to the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and the 6th of November, bringing together entrepreneurs with bold ideas and big ambition. Come and witness the big pitch where our 10 finalists will compete for the coveted $1 million business investment. That's US dollars. Join masterclass with industry experts who will share valuable knowledge on relevant topics and seize the opportunity to pitch your business ideas to leading investors. Don't miss out. Limited seats are available. Book yours now at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
Feel the exhilarating power and performance. Feel the anticipation of a new adventure around every corner. Feel the breathtaking wonder of Zanzi's epic scenery. Feel the Lux vibes and the good times. Feel it all and more with the Ultimate Shell V-Power VIP experience. Spend 750 Rand 3 times this month and tap your V Plus rewards card for a chance to win one of 5 epic road trip and trek experiences for 2. TCC supply. It's spring, SA, and here at DecoFirm, we say it's time to say yes. Say yes to new friends. Yes to new adventures. Will you marry me? Yes! And definitely say yes to a few new things.
Welcome to DecoFirm.
Yo.
That's the last one, huh?
Okay. Yo.
It's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 in brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Your voice, your life, your afternoon radio. On 702 Afternoons with Alebogile Mabota.
24 minutes to 2 o'clock. We're talking about gender roles, how they've evolved, and the thought that this current generation of men and women is the product of our parents and forefathers and foremothers that came. We are the product of all those people. So if you're complaining that your woman or your wife or woman of today are not submissive enough and this, keep in mind that your mothers and grandmothers raised us to be this way. And I guess the same would apply to men. So I want to hear from you if this is positive or negative, especially where gender roles are concerned. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Lindy, we're in Johannesburg. Hi.
Hi, Glemochi.
Mm.
What an amazing topic. So what I wanted to talk to is how myself and how I am and versus how my brother is based on the household that we grew up in.
Yes.
So we were not necessarily told, I was not necessarily told this is what the woman should be. I grew up looking at my mom and my dad and the dynamics there and the power dynamics there, the abuse. I looked at my uncles, I looked at our neighbors, I looked at my entire surrounding, and I decided I can't do that. I don't like to cook. I don't know if I actually don't like to cook, but I remember thinking, I will not cook. So there are certain gender norm activities that I decided from being a child that I will not do those things because I saw that as being weak. And unfortunately, I was then very tough as a mom to my kids, and I have, by the grace of God, been a bit better. On the contrast, I then look at my brother who saw the same dynamics. He's an amazing husband, amazing dad. He washes dishes. He does all sorts of things that he saw my mom doing, not wanting to do. And he then decided, and it's not the conversation we've had, but I think he then decided, I will not do that to my wife, I will do that to my kids. So the same environment and the same things we see can then make us so different. And I think better for both of us. So maybe I may have come out too harsh, but I think he came out softer, which is great. So I don't think either is bad, but yes, definitely we are the product of our environment.
And I have to say, and thank you for mentioning your brother. I love to talk about how phenomenal, it is watching my brother become this amazing present father and husband. He does more of the cooking than my sister-in-law does, and I know that while the premise of the conversation is around women's evolving, it's important to recognize and acknowledge where the men are evolving too. I'm just curious, what makes you describe yourself and how you raised your kids as harsh?
So I grew up being a sensitive child, and I ended up being bullied, etc., at school because of that. So I grew up being a little bit tough on my kids to say, well, the world is tough. You must toughen up. You can't be a softie. So my son is very soft. So I was trying to toughen him up, but I think
I got you.
So it was just because of how I grew up.
Yes.
Then the things that happened to me.
I hear you. All right. Thank you so much, Lindiwe, for sharing your experience and your journey. Lerato in Joburg. Hi, go ahead.
I think it's just, it's the way we socialize, and it's going to be very difficult. Not that it's difficult, but in your clip, the guy mentioned how the previous generation raised this kind of independent woman because of what they lacked. But it's the same generation that raised the guys that we have, that kind of put it in their head that a woman is there to serve or to be play a certain role in their lives. So it's very rare that you'll come across certain guys that are willing to blend the roles where they do the dishes or take care of the kids or just share responsibilities, because they were somewhat raised in this. I'm the head of the family, therefore I need to display it in such a way, and I don't do certain things, and a woman must do certain And even though women have become more independent, but certain roles, because of how we socialize and because how family dynamics view these roles, are still expected of women and men. And it's going to take some time for us to, it might even be another, as much as, yes, there are some evolutions, like the previous caller has said, making an example of the brother, but it's eating an elephant one bite at a time, really, because I still think we have a long way to go. I mean, look at the conversation where the surname came in, where where men could take the woman's surname, and just how it disrupted the idea of the position of men in families and the role they would play. We just have a long way to go.
Definitely agree with you there. I mean, even that thing about the surnames, I just cannot understand why, as a man, you would be mad at another man choosing to do something because it's not mandatory. Una in Linksfield, hi.
Hi, Lebohile. Thank you for today's topic.
Yes.
Now I am against the way we were raised to become what we are today, and the generation we are raising nowadays. I am a mother of 3. I've got a husband who is a very successful husband. However, I believe that a man needs to go out there and work, to cater to the kids and the family, and make sure that the kids are taken care of. The kids, their lives run smoothly. Reason being is that nowadays, and this applies to both parents and children, nowadays we are raising kids who are under pressure. We are raising kids who are going through mental disturbance. And I think it's because there is no nurturing anymore to our kids. And this thing is also affecting us as parents because we are also under pressure. We are going through mental disorders because of the way we are putting ourselves under pressure. If a woman can just sit at home and run the family, men just go out there and work. And I'm not saying men must go out there and make a lot of money. Let them make money that is.
Can I just share one thing, Una, which is my concern with what you're saying, ne, Una? I think my concern with what you're saying is it doesn't leave room, if we say men must, ne, it doesn't leave room for opportunities that might not look like that. So if, let's say, between this couple and their children, there's an opportunity for the woman to go and earn really good money, and that would mean the result of that means the man must stay home. I'll give an example. You can have a woman who's a diplomat going and being relocated, and the husband gets given a stipend and he's at home. I think we mustn't close ourselves off. I get the premise of what you're saying, but I also think we mustn't close ourselves off to the fact that the picture might not look like that. And I also don't want to make less of a man's manliness or attach his manhood to his income generating abilities. And I'm gonna have to leave it there because I've got so many messages I want to go through. Una, in Linksfield. Thank you for your call. Here are your voice notes.
Good afternoon, Auslebo. Okay, first let me study your feedback. You were right. As long as the hands go around the belly, it's fine. If they can't, then we must gym.
I knew it.
2 strong women. My mom, when I got married, sat me down with my wife, and she told my wife, "You will not be a plum pot and sit at home. And you will learn to fend for yourself because you don't know what the future holds." So yeah, it's food for thought that you started. It's a conversation and a very, very interesting one because a lot of the times it's a conversation that we don't want to hear, but we have to hear it anyway, whether we like it or not.
Here's the simple truth. Most of us, including the men that usually have a problem with this, were raised by single parents, and the people that supported those single parents were grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts, and uncles, and those are the people that shaped our mindset. That simple.
Hi, Rebecca. I just want to say hats off to women of today. Men aren't men anymore, and the women have to step up and do what the men is supposed to do. So for me, Rudolph from Alberton. I just want to say hats off to every woman that's taking that responsibility. Good afternoon. Hey, you know what? Modern women, they should demonstrate that by starting to Thanks, William Victoria.
Basically, he's saying, yo, guys, let me just translate that quickly. He's saying, then, as a modern woman, when there's a funeral happening, you should be there with your kharaf. What's kharaf in English? Spade. Get spade, ne? And you should be there. I mean, if that's all it's gonna take, really? Yeah, ne?
Hi, the identity of men is not tied to women. So when we are providers, we're not necessarily providers for women. We're not necessarily providers for our children, but we're just providers in general. So there's no self-respecting men out there who should be comfortable and happy to have a woman provide for him. Men are encoded. It's in our DNA to become providers, protectors, and presiders. So it's independent of women. We just provide. So you could be a man who doesn't have children. You provide for your sister's children. You protect your sister's children. You protect your sister. You protect your fellow brothers. You see, it's independent of women. It's not an identity that's tied to women, per se. John here in report.
John.
Sibo from Pretoria here. So I just got out of a relationship with a guy because he left home and he lived with his mom all his life. And when we started living together, he expected me to basically take over the role that his mom played in his life. Ekbeni, we're supposed to be partners. Now, Connor, he was not going to play the same role the men of the olden days were supposed to play in our relationship. And so there was a bit of, the scales were not balanced. And I was like, I can't. Men of today just want to be princesses and they want to be babied, and that's not how it works, because then the scales are not balanced. And also, we don't want to be like the women of back then, because they were basically under a lot of oppression. Thanks.
Okay, let me start with this last one. Thank you so much. Ma'am, you were not, he was not your partner. You were not his partner. You were his mother. That's what you were. Which leads me to the thing that I feel like all men need to live on their own before they can go and live with a woman. Go experience the concept of independence. Number two, to John, who said, we are just providers. I don't buy that, because women are providers. Statistically, women are the bigger providers in society. So how is that a uniquely male trait? It is not. It's not a uniquely male trait. You're saying we provide for our siblings, we provide. Dude, we do that too. We've been doing it. But you cannot tell me what makes you a man as being a provider, independent of there being a woman. Your identity as a man cannot be, I'm a provider. If it needs to relate, like, who are you as a man? What makes you a man? These are the questions I have to ask. 10 minutes to 2 o'clock.
John Perlman.
Weekday afternoons, 3 to 6. There's a substantial dispute and
Finance feature still doesn't have a statement.
No, it does. It does. Quickly go to that board, to the checkers board, and move it over. On the right?
On the right.
Yes, I'm looking to check with you. Let me just make my screen bigger.
What is it called? Just finance.
Finance. Check the next page. At the top, click the arrow. Can you see the arrow?
Which arrow? No.
Like, you see when you open up the other blocks of screen. Yes, click that. No, you passed it. Up. Yes, wait, go back, go up. That arrow.
Yes.
No, up. Click the arrow. The next one. Oh, it's right there. You just passed the arrow.
Wait, is it this one?
Play.
Love is patient. Love is kind.
702.
Yes.
702. Finance feature.
But you see the error I was referring to.
No, the thing is, you can't control it there.
No, I'm trying for you to click it
No,
so that
what
I
I'm
can see
saying
the
is
other
I
page.
can't see the arrow. What you moving there, I can't see it.
No, I know. But your cursor was right there.
Oh, I
Bruh. Right there. Move a little bit to the. No. Go back. Go back to it. It's 7:02 afternoons. Go back. When? You are so blind. This is why you guys don't have identity. Right here. Here.
Oh,
This
arrow. I'm like,
guys.
wow.
This is why, guys, men don't know who they are without us. But you were right there the whole time. Where was the arrow going to take you? Oh, guys, Natural Hair Chronicles. Okay.
Use that type of mark.
Nah.
Hey, there's gonna be one more swap. Okay. It's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes 15 seconds long.
All right, so I'll be out at 57. It's gonna be a quick interview. 8 minutes to 2 o'clock, and our finance feature for today, we're talking about the silent shame of garnishee orders, and we're joined by Salem Nyati, a consumer financial education specialist at Momentum Group. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Roberto, and greetings to your listeners.
Is it Salem or Salem? I just want to triple check.
Salem.
Salem, there we go. All right. Please explain to us what a garnishee order is.
So in a short way and way of explaining it, it's when the court is ordered to deduct the debt that you owe from your salary without your voluntary compliance. So basically, they go in there and they take, because they've been trying all other avenues to collect their money, and usually it's a last resort to say, before that money lands into your bank account, that debt must be deducted.
Okay, and of course, once that court order comes to the company you work for, your boss, it's not a if, ands, or but. The employee can't later come and say, hey, this is my reason. That is court ordered, and they will have to do that.
That's correct. However, we've seen a lot of invalid garnish orders in South Africa because the employer would receive the court order, but there are certain things that would be out of place. For example, if you're not exempt by the magistrate, but rather exempt by the clerk of the court, that already then makes it an invalid garnish order, whereby then the employer can't then say, okay, we're going to put this into effect, but rather you then as an employee need to be forced. But let's say, for example, your take home is supposed to be 22,000 rands per month. We've seen people go home with 450 rands, right? Because there's like 10 or 12 garnishee orders.
What?
Because this one is taking and that one is taking and the other one is taking. Now the employer, before they say it's a garnishee order, I need to put this in place, they need to look to see, is this valid? And that's why there's laws in place for this. For example, if over 25% of the person's gross is already deducted, I can't then put this garnishee order into effect, even though it's a court order. So yes, it comes through to salaries department, but there are certain measures that need to be taken into consideration to make sure that the consumer is not indebted by this process.
Okay, so if now, let's speak from the perspective of the person who this garnishee order has been basically court ordered against them. I'm assuming they are notified first, and the garnishee order could be because of debt that they owe. It could be of maintenance. and a number of issues. What options are available to that person? Once they find out, are they able to challenge it? Or once it gets to garnishee order stage, it's almost like it's quite far gone?
You can challenge it, even if it goes to garnishee order stage. Usually, consumers find out when they're called in by HR to say, look, and that's why that process of calling the employee is very important, because when you get this garnishee order, you do have 10 days to go and challenge this. And I mean, you can challenge it based on many reasons. And I'll give you a reason. For example, you owe 10,000 rand, but the garnishee order comes and it says 22,000 rand. That's double the amount, number one. And usually the law says you can't, if you owe 10,000 rand, your legal costs, your collection fees, they cannot add up to double the amount that you owe. Then you go and say, I'm challenging this. Or if the garnishee order comes through and 25% of your gross salary already goes towards garnishee orders, you can go and challenge that. And I'll give you another reason.
So we have to do this, Salem. We do need to go for a break before we go to the news, but I think it will be important to get you back to unpack this a little bit further, because there are questions that are coming in that are super valid. Like, if that person that loaned you money didn't go to your employer to confirm you can afford it, why they're going to your employer now for you to pay it back, and many others. But thank you so much for your time. Let's get her back again.
Weekday mornings, 9 to 12. 9 to 12. The day we
I think it needs a masterclass. I didn't
Yeah.
know this word until today.
the Mandela
Yep.
Commission into corruption
Stand by
and
for a live feed after this.
Okay.
justice system begins. When you look at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it looks like this thing is going to take quite some. This is not a 6-month piece of work. It's not. It was never designed to be a 6-month piece of work. And I think when the president gave timelines, it was partly because of the political pressure he gave himself of not excusing Minister Senzo Mchunu from his job entirely, and then give enough space. Political analyst Clemens Manyatela.
9 to 12 on 702.
This isn't an event, it's a statement. When you choose Thirst mobile bar services, you choose confidence without spectacle. These discreet mobile bars come with expert mixologists and service that speaks louder than words. Every detail refined, every pour intentional, every guest remembered. Thirst mobile bar services, the perfect ingredient, the perfect outcome for those who expect more and settle for nothing less. Secure your year-end date now at thirst.co.za.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk.
We're gonna be late now, so you'll go straight through.
But when she found Santam, AC's leading short-term insurer that offers a range from vehicle to building and contents, even she didn't.
It won't be 1401.
The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to the broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an
EWN, in touch.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Mikey Malapo. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has answered to questions on the operational costs of the political killings task team in the province.
Thank you,
Mkhwanazi is the first witness at Madanga Commission.
When am I going?
Into criminality.
Yo, bruh, I don't know.
There's still me talk.
Yo, bruh, we need to, I have so much in my life I need to just prep and get going. Yo. But my fear was just so hectic. Like it's been such a long time coming.
So therefore, if we have resources that are not there in KwaZulu-Natal, we have to source it from other provinces.
He added that the team's plans included bringing in other officers who were not from KwaZulu-Natal.
Therefore, there's a cost associated with the accommodation, subsistence, and traveling allowances, and so forth. And we also needed to have other resources, computers, vehicles, and so forth.
Mkhwanazi says all this was communicated to all deputy commissioners of different provinces before being signed off by the national commissioner.
I think once you see Karabs. Girl, the exhaustion just won't leave my body. I'm falling apart.
We needed to make sure before the national commissioner signs off that his deputy national commissioner have an insight of what they
Butiza.
want to do,
sisters.
make their own recommendations to the national commissioner in terms of the plan.
Meanwhile, proceedings have seen a slow start despite Mkhwanazi taking the stand when the commission kicked off this morning. Majority of his testimony has been centered around the constitutional mandate of the SAPS, including their roles and responsibilities in line with the SAPS Act. Mkhwanazi also touched on aspects of the political killings task team, providing background on the establishment of the team in 2018. Oren Singh is at the Bridget Mabanga Justice College and joins us live now. Oren, what more has the KZN top cop shared?
Well, look, Maki, he's basically only just started to get into the nitty-gritties of this political killings task team that you referred to, talking about how and why there was a need for the formation of this task team. Interestingly enough, though, Maki, it must be noted that this task team, the political killings task team, was established in 2011 when Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was the acting National Police Commissioner. But they seem to be not functioning as they should. They weren't getting the successes they needed.
And so this is the first one.
Committee re-looked at it, and they were
No, she's already talking to him. This is him talking.
No. Get out earlier. Because I wasn't aware that.
For Eyewitness News, I'm Oren Singh, live.
I'm not sure. No, I think it happened. Maybe Pashida clicked. I don't know. So I don't know.
No, I just clicked.
Oh no, it happened.
Maybe she tried to.
Oh yes.
To him earlier.
To be public sector ghost employees. The department has also called for a mandatory verification process of all state employees from entry-level interns to senior managers. The department briefed Parliament's Public Service and Administration Portfolio Committee today.
The committee today heard how one provincial department had made overpayments of up to 6 million rand to suspected ghost employees who were either terminated or deceased. Public Service and Administration Deputy General Dr. Anusha Nai.
I need to restart my machine.
Action by freezing payments pending further investigation. She says illegally obtained pension benefits for ghost workers must also be recovered.
Ghosts have GEPF, Government Employee Pension Fund. So we'll have to even go there and take out those money. So in fact, we must look at is we must remind departments.
National Treasury also told the committee that there's an urgent need to strengthen verification and onboarding through the creation of digital identities and biometrics for all state employees. Baba Londense, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
We move to the courts where the state prosecutor in the Palapala burglary trial has slammed his own witness, saying their testimony is improper. The state called its third witness, a man who allegedly transported the people who robbed President Cyril Ramaphosa's farmhouse in Limpopo, Gauteng. Manuela David, along with siblings Frodiana and Ndilina Shaw Joseph, are accused of breaking into President Cyril Ramaphosa's game farm in February 2020 and stealing $580,000 in cash. Tabiso Goba has more.
The driver, who cannot be named, has testified to transporting accused number one, Emanuela David, from Limpopo to Rustenburg.
Why Lily so?
Speaking through an interpreter, the driver says he dropped off David and two of his friends at a car dealership.
Nah, you started laughing, bro.
No, you started with this.
Come on, you're not in primary school.
You know, that's not. You're like, I know, like, things fall apart.
When asked by the prosecutor
what you telling me is not right.
He said no. State prosecutor Nketende Munyai says the driver's testimony is inconsistent with the statement he gave to police. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News, Limpopo.
Staying in the courts, alleged Usindiso building arsonist Stimbiso Mdlalose says he was waiting for the right time to reveal that his confession about starting the deadly blaze was false. Mdlalose had initially admitted to igniting the August 2023 fire
Always.
that killed 76
Oh,
people,
Goring.
but now insists his
Exactly.
shelter. Under cross-examination today, Mdlalose said he doesn't want to remain in custody for a confession he claims was false.
I wanted to.
Let's get the guest in.
To put this matter into the table. Because remember, there are a lot of questions. I mean, even the case.
And in the Western Cape, the provincial mobility
I got picked up by an Uber yesterday, which I think was on its last legs, the car. Yo.
Was it slow?
It was struggling up like a very small steep. I saw lights on at the front and I was just like, I wanted to be like, how are you? Good. Nice to meet you, Tracy. You've done radio before, ne?
Yes.
I can tell. Go by sharp.
That they actually put more effort in trying to resolve this.
I just projected something on the screen there.
Just make it a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna do the throw forward, and then I do that. You play the opening billboard thing, then I do that, and then I do the go to the execution.
So
We're gonna come back. I'm gonna do the throw forward of what's coming up in the hour. Yeah.
Selby, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. That's leaving the Joburg CBD. Also, if you are driving through Alex heading towards Midrand, traffic sluggish on the N3 northbound between Modderfontein Road and Marlborough. And in Boksburg, traffic remains sluggish on North Rand Road between the R21 Rietfontein Road and J Park Road.
Can I bother you, Karabo? Please order me my usual cappuccino. She knows what it is. No, I'm saying my usual. It's cappuccino with oat milk and 2 sweeteners.
Okay, call the woman
Yes.
that side.
Yes.
Cappuccino with
Oat milk, 2 sweeteners. I'll send Sanele to fetch it for me because I'm crashing. Ish, bro. You work in corporate, you should know what crashing is. Yo, bruh. And then people think I only work 2 hours a day. Thank you. People think there are people who are like, why from 1 to 3? Guys. So we're aligned, ne? With what we're doing.
After this, you don't have the sting, and then
No.
you do.
Yes.
You do
Yes.
this.
No.
No, you do this.
You
Masterclass.
play your thing, then I do this opening billboard.
When do you do this?
No, straight after. I go straight from opening billboard into the execution. Here we go, guys. 10 minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Maboja. Don't worry about your garnishee questions. I think it definitely deserves a masterclass. So we'll bring our guests back. You can ask all of the questions that you have around garnishee orders. So coming up in this hour of the show, we're together with Standard Bank Private, and we're going to be talking in our masterclass about smarter financial decisions during economic pressures. We'll be joined by Muthusi Dire, Senior Manager, National Internal Sales at Standard Bank, and we look forward to hearing from all of you. Don't worry if you've missed out on all our conversations with Standard Bank Private, where we talk about protecting our wealth, holding on to it, all of those things. Go to primemediaplus.com or download the app. Get in touch with us, 011-883-0702. SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. The masterclass with me, Lebogile Mambuja, is brought to you by Standard Bank Private on 702. Now, in this masterclass that's powered by Standard Bank Private, we explore what it takes to design a wealthier life by making smart financial moves that build legacies. So, with rising interest rates, inflation, and a volatile rand, many consumers are rethinking how they spend, especially on high value purchases like vehicles. So, to find out more about how South Africans are making smarter financial decisions in response to ongoing economic pressures, we're going to be chatting. I just need to get a correction here, but we're going to be chatting to Mutusi Dire, Senior Manager, National Internal Sales at Standard Bank. And he joins us in studio. We're going to be taking your calls 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. Mutusi, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the listeners of 702 Bank.
Okay, so just in terms of I need to understand your title because we don't live in the world of Standard Bank. National Internal Sales. What does that mean? What do you do there?
So I head up, I guess, the sales auditing branch network from wealth investment that originates via our digital platform. So if you go on Standard Bank SBG mobile or you go on Standard Bank website, which is www.standardbank.co.za. So all of those sales that originate from there for vehicle and asset finance, I look after that portfolio.
Okay, and I think it's quite important that you are sharing that with us so that we also have context of what it is that you do as we delve into this part of our discussion, which is just those decisions. I want to briefly talk about economic pressures.
Yeah.
What do we mean by that? I mean, we're all feeling the pinch, and I feel like the average South African, the way we measure is like, okay, that same basket of basics that I would be buying last year where they are today, but from your perspective, it's a whole lot bigger than just that.
Yeah. So when we talk about really the economical pressures for us as South Africans, we're really talking purely about living standard. Is the quality of life that I'm living today the same as I was living last year or the same as I was living 10 years ago? And what we are seeing really in the data set is that many South Africans are really feeling the heat. And that is one from the what you just mentioned in terms of the basket of goods, which is generally the measure of our CPI, Consumer Price Index. And Statistics SA will generally give us an indication whether is there an improvement or there isn't an improvement there. Then the second part really is what the legislature will be responsible for from the monetary policy perspective. So how we let that particular interest rate, how it needs to be because it's generally variable rate. So we pay more. And when it goes down, it's actually going a bit down and give us a sense of relief. And I think when one then extrapolates, I think that it then goes into different aspects of our lives. That impacts your transporting life. That impacts, you spoke about the food and entertainment as an example. To a certain degree, I mean, we know that from the ecosystem, you will then have things like your petrol as an example. What does that look like in terms of having to pay for that? We do have insurance as well. So that's another component there. Then when you have a vehicle in terms of your pocket, then there are things that you will then call an after sale. So you look at your servicing as an example. What does the servicing look like? What are the intervals that I actually have? Do I have to pay out of my pocket as a South African? And if yes, then you are feeling a bit more heat. Things like your tires. So generally, it's things that we will ordinarily forget. But the minute that you have a tire burst or you have a nail that punch your tire, that means you have to part with some money. All of those over the years, due to really a rise in inflation, a rise in interest rate to a certain degree, although we got the relief really since 2023, we've been getting that relief. They really do add up into the what we call the disposable income of the consumers of South Africa or the South African citizens. So that pressure is actually evident. And then you then go into one might call, like your luxury living in terms of your subscriptions as an example. So all of those, they also do have an element of an annual increase. So the heat is on, we are feeling it, but it's not all doom and gloom.
Yes.
I do think, when you're looking at South Africans, we are a resilient country. And we did have some of these waves back in 1998 when our prime rate was 25% plus minus somewhere there, and look at where we are now. So we are a resilient country. We are able to go up and down.
So when we look at cars, I mean, we're still a country where I see dealerships everywhere. Every single time we listen to the news and we hear that South Africans are struggling, and then I'm like, all of the cars we're seeing on the roads, we're not struggling. However,
Yes.
there is some shift in consumer behavior. We speak about it in our car feature where they're like, people are no longer going for the big, heavy German cars anymore. From a financing perspective, from a Mutusi perspective, share with us what you are observing and what is driving the shift in our behavior when it comes to buying of vehicles.
Yeah. So what you're asking is quite interesting, right? Because when one looks at the data 10 years ago, let's look at 2015. And you're talking about the shift in terms of moving from what was traditionally known as, the brands,
Yes,
to more of, I guess the Chinese brands as we are to call it.
yes,
Right?
versus
So-
the German,
versus the
the
German,
machines.
your
Yes.
Americans and all
Yes.
that. So in 2015, we had about 5 brands of Chinese cars.
Yes.
And that now has shifted from 5 to 16. So Chinese cars have really entered the market over the last 10 years. And when you look at, we follow which is a NAMSA reporting on a month-on-month, just to guide us in terms of what's happening there. You actually see that a lot more and more Chinese brands are actually featuring in that particular report. So that signals what you are talking about in terms of this particular shift. And I think one, you have to then understand the behavior patterns of South African consumers ourselves, right? In terms of one, it actually signals that one would have grown in a certain brand family where it was a favorite, and now you have the younger generation, which are our now consumers, right? That are moving away from what their parents would have originally went for, and purely because of the technology has evolved over time. And when you look at some of the Chinese models, the whistles and bells that they come with as a standard feature, in certain models, you have to pay that as an element of an extra. So for somebody now who is, and we're talking about wealth, right? You're gonna bring your financial savviness into that to say, why do I need to pay X if I could actually get Y with all the whistles and bells? So that movement has actually come through. So the brand loyalty, it's thing of the past. I think what South Africans are looking for more and more today, it is a mobility solution. Is this vehicle able to take me from A to B? But with that mobility solution, is it also talking to me from the technology perspective, right? And when you then look at, I guess, the new entrants that are coming in, we see even a whole lot of, young women coming in. And young women are, I almost want to say, the drivers, in terms of some of this change, because in our data set, we really are seeing that more and more women are taking up finance as compared to 10 years ago. We're actually seeing a lot more women actually going for these new Chinese models as compared to 10 years ago.
So women are bringing cars
Women are
to the
bringing
table.
that.
We're bringing cars to the table.
The girls are bringing cars to the table. They are
When
ready
you guys
to-
ask us, what are we bringing to the table? We're bringing cars.
So that is actually coming through, and which is quite an influence, right? Because and when you look at some of those models, as well as the feedback that we are receiving, is that it is quite nice. It's a decent hatchback. If I'm a young mom, I'm able to put my stroller there with no hassle, and with the colors as well, because they have brought in a different lens to color, right? So you see different colors that are actually coming in. They are talking to a lot more younger ladies. So the shift that we actually are seeing is really influenced by that. And I think to a certain degree also there is also a safety feature. There is also a pop-up look and feel. Is this vehicle Instagrammable? So it's those things that they will be looking at and just to make sure that they make such a. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's important to pricing. So we cannot look at the holistic movement of the vehicles and not really touch on the pricing component. Because one of the things that we know is what was the cheapest vehicle back in 2015 and looking at now?
Yes.
That vehicle, I can tell you, it was somewhere in sub 100,000.
Yes.
Now we're talking almost 200,000.
It's so crazy about the entry level vehicles. But again, if we go back to what you were saying, is now certain features are not extras, they form part of the basic package. So we can see why things in some respects have become a lot more pricey when it comes to entry level. Now, in terms of trends with new and used cars, what are you seeing? And I know we've touched on the brands, but I want to know specifically which brands you would say are leading the charge.
So when you follow the NAMSA, we normally will see Toyota as up there, and then followed by Suzuki, and then come VW. Then you'll then have a mixture that comes from there, right? So the likes of your Hyundai, then you'll have your Cherry that's actually coming through. Then in there you'll also have the likes of your Bake, you'll have the likes of your GWM, and GWM actually being the most sold Chinese brand in South Africa, right?
I keep getting confused who's the baby of which company, because a lot of them are connected. So
Yes.
I was like, I saw somebody being announced as an ambassador for GWN, but then they were in a Haval. And then I was like, I was so confused, but we do know that some of them own parts of, yes.
Yeah, so Haval, it is under the GWM state.
I got
so
you.
It's called GWM Haval.
But there's a GWM that's just a GWM car.
And it's a brand.
Okay,
so
I got
is
you.
a brand.
Yes.
So then you have your Haval, you have your P series as a buggy in there. So that's where you'll actually find it. And when you then look into the used, really, and used is quite an interesting one because it's quite dynamic. So it is also, I guess, priced kind of like challenging the new side, if you are to look at it in that sense. Where we started now to see a whole lot of your Cherry coming through, your Tigo 4. From the used perspective, it has actually created an element of demand.
Yes.
When you also starting to look
because
at
it's such good value for money. I've test driven that car. There are so many in this parking lot in this building. It's good value for money, and because I see a lot more people want the SUV feel.
Yeah. So there is that, so we want to be off the ground, and we want, it's a safety component, so whereas if you are to look at some of the vehicles, they're almost more down on the ground. So it's because it's elevated a bit, I'm able to see, as a mom, what is actually in front of me as opposed to if I'm sitting somewhere a bit more lower.
Yes.
And I think one may also say, for safety reasons, we also do install the speed humps, right? So it's also somewhat easier to navigate a bit of a lifted car versus a bit of a lower down, right? So that in itself, it kind of like assist, some of the consumers from easy, I guess, moving around, the roads there. So we do have a whole lot of, used cars that are coming through. When you look at the stats, we're currently sitting at around about between 3.2 and 3.8, meaning used cars for one new. So that in itself is something that has shifted. It means that South Africans are actually actively looking for a used car in a lot more numbers compared to what we are seeing on the used side. And even from the applications that we are receiving, our ratios are also mimicking the same as far as the application for asset finance is concerned.
Okay, now if we look at Standard Bank Private, what are you doing then to support your clients through some of these shifts? I mean, I, in some ways, feel like maybe your job is a bit easier because you're getting more applications for financing for lower amounts as opposed to, the person wanting the 3.5 million rand car and you having to be like, sir, you udula ko big room. Listen, those people exist, and listen, respect to you. For many people, the car's more of the priority, but yes.
And I think the reality is, that South Africans, we do need mobility. So and that's where we start when we look at how do we partner, how do we enable the wealth of the South Africans. That's where we start looking into the mobility component, right? So our activity from the numbers perspective is really sitting between the 300 and the 400,000 mark. That's where we actually see a lot more activity sitting there. And I think
sorry, just for context, how much does that almost work out to on average in terms of monthly installments? Is that Boma between 3,000 and 7,000 rand, depending how much a deposit has put? And I'm really just thumb sucking.
So it will depend on the structure that you want to kind of like put in, right? So if we go and say, let's look at a 400,000 and we're looking at a prime rate and over 5-year period, there is no deposit, there is no balloon. You're looking at around about 8,600 plus minus.
Okay.
The minute that you then go into a longer term, which is we can go up to 84 months, which is 7 years. If you take a 6-year term, which is 72 months, we're looking around about 6,700 plus minus there. And if you're looking at a longer term, which is 8 years, we're looking at 6,200. So, which to a certain degree, for South Africans, it might say it is something that I need because I need to go and be economically active.
Yes.
Right? It is something that I need because I need to move my kids to school. It is something that I need, in my own because I need to go see Melinda, Banabako and all this.
This grocery gotta go somewhere when you deliver. Right? Yes.
So that's one part, but also because of the I guess the uniqueness that we operate in, we also understand, there is a serious legislation that we have to operate within the ambit. So we try by all means to be as more diligent and just to zone into the customer and assist where we can. So you asked me what is it that we are doing. I think from the onset, we try to really offer very competitive rate. And I think we know that that's part of what influences the customer. But the second part is we also try and partner with many players in the industry because you will need an element of telematics. So just to see
what is telematics?
It's a safety feature. So I don't want to name the brands, but it's those instruments you put in the car that tells you where are you. It kind of like locates
I
you.
got you. I got you.
To press for emergencies, you got
I
to
got
press
you.
and all that, right?
I got you.
So that would be the telematics component. We then look at, from insurance perspective, because from Standard Bank, we do offer the competitive insurance as well. So that piece we also bring into step because we know it is important. And when I spoke earlier about the cost of mobility, you do know that it's not just the installment. There are all the other auxiliary measures that comes through, including insurance, and hence we go into different partnerships just to make sure that we do walk the journey with the customer. And I guess some customers opt then to use the balloon payment, and really the balloon payment, it is that whole amount that will then be due at the end of the term, just to minimize your repayments on a monthly basis. So I guess some customers, they utilize that differently. Some will say, I would like to pay a bit more, less, and that's why let me use the balloon payment so I can put the money away because there is something that I want to do. Some of them will then invest the money, or some of them will say, actually, I don't see myself driving this car for long. Let me put in a balloon payment and I'm going to take it in. Some of them will then put the deposit plus a balloon. So it becomes really a mixture of different structures that we are able to tailor make for our customers, really depending on what is it that they need.
Okay, and I think it's quite important that you've also given to the context by mentioning that you can come through and have a discussion with the pros and the cons of understanding how your deal can be structured in a way that's favorable to you. We've spoken extensively on different features about the concept of balloon payments and deposits. And I'm also realizing the older I'm getting that it depends where you are in life as well. When you're a business person like myself, I'm not trying to pay deposit at all. I need my liquid. You need that cash. Cash is king. When we come back, we are going to continue with this masterclass. And I invite all of you to get your questions in for our guest Muthusi Dire on this discussion around smarter financial decisions during economic pressures. And make sure that you get your questions in, especially if it's around financing of vehicles as well, if that's what you want to touch on. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. It's 2:30, time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Lebohile. Good afternoon.
Did you pay for my coffee?
The capital, where the Mandela
I knew you didn't.
has resumed
Wait till I bet you we go miracle Muthusi. I bet you we go miracle. I got forced to bet someone. She saw me buying sweets, and she quickly ran like, please put a Kit Kat on her account. Nah, bang bet you go miracle. Which one?
He got stuck on his way to work.
Oh, for radio?
Yeah.
With his car?
Yeah.
And
and somebody helped him then.
Yes.
And so he was hosting half of his show in his car.
Oh, wow.
So that guy was there with him. Man. He's like, yo, man, thank you. What made you help me out? He's like, yo, you know, I usually help people, but people don't help me. I'm depressed. And then Caesar's like, you're depressed? What's going on? He's like, yeah, I'm getting married. And now I don't have money to pay for the venue.
Is Caesar paying?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to tell me Caesar is paying.
I was like, this guy.
I'm going to message Caesar and be like, pay for the guy's flipping wedding. How much did he say?
I was like, you know what? I was like, this guy. I was like, no.
I'm messaging him right now. Bruh, pay for the wedding. How? Why are you asking if you're not going to pay? I'm not going to say, hey, Gomo.
No, but he was like, why did you help me? Why did you like find it?
That's a genuine question too.
Yeah, and then I'm depressed. And I'm like, oh, depression, that guy know. And then he explained why he's depressed. Yeah, people owe me money, but they don't want to pay. And now for the wedding coming, I can't pay for the venue. I'm like, he's asking for Caesar to pay for the. Well, at the stage, you can still expect about an hour delay. This is heading into the Joburg CBD in the Selby area on the M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. Also, bumper-to-bumper traffic in Amalgam on Main Reef Road. This is between Nazareth and Anderson in Alex, traveling towards Midrand. There's an accident scene, N3 northbound near Marlborough Drive, causing heavy delays on Main Road. And traffic also sluggish on Northland Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Do you think I just messaged him? Caesar says long. How much did the guy need for the wedding?
Like I switched off after he says I need money for this. I was like, I'm not gonna listen to this.
I think 50K is a 50K. Is that too much? Is 50K too much money?
Man, that guy is awkward. Then out of nowhere,
he helped him. Give him 50,000. The South African Future Trust Summit is fast approaching. This premium entrepreneurial showcase will return to the Sandton Convention Center on the 5th and 6th of November, with international and local speakers sharing groundbreaking insights from their entrepreneurial journeys. It's an unmatched opportunity to network with like-minded entrepreneurs, innovators, investors, and change makers. With 2,000 plus delegates and over 200 exhibitors, all under one roof, come and experience the extraordinary world of thriving entrepreneurs and business owners. Avoid missing out. Get your ticket now for 1,800 Rand each for the 2 days at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702. Is 50,000 Rand a lot of money?
It's subjective.
Okay, what if you're Sizwe Gomo? Is it a lot of money? Sorry, I got told the story of how Sizwe, who hosts Breakfast on Kaya, got stuck on his way to work. So he went live on air from his phone, and somebody stopped to help him, and he's asking him, why did you stop to help me? And the guy's like, he starts telling him a story that he's depressed, he doesn't have enough money for this wedding. So I'm like, I thought you guys are going to tell me he said to the guy, I'll give you money. So I'm messaging now because I just heard the show say, give the guy money, 50,000. Give him. I don't know, but I'm messaging him now to say, I heard the story. I'm going to say 50K is peanuts for you.
Yeah, you can say that. But a businessman that he is, there is no way. There's no way. It's 50,000 peanuts for
live on your screen.
For the 1% of the 1%, yes. He's laughing when I'm saying 50K is peanuts for you.
Oh, I want to live, sir?
Yes. Here we go. From the bottles on your table to the glass that's recycled and reborn, Isanti Glass is proving that sustainability can shine. Tomorrow, 702 Drive with John Perlman will be in conversation with Isanti Glass as we unpack how they are redefining glass manufacturing and making a real impact in communities. We'll also explore how Isanti Glass champions innovation, empowers local industries, and supports a circular economy through recycling and sustainable practices. Don't miss 702 Drive with John Perlman tomorrow in conversation with Isanti Glass from 3 to 6 p.m. on 702. Can we play on the floor, please? 702 Drive coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. John, how are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Lebokile. Hope you're well, and good afternoon to the listeners.
All right, what is coming up on your show today?
So, obviously front and center, day one of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, answering questions, talking about the statement he's made. First part of the day, I think very much foundational, setting the scene, but I think right now, they're actually getting into some of the meat of the allegations he made in that press conference a couple of months ago. We'll have coverage of that from our reporter, Oren Singh. We'll chat to some other people as well about what's come out of today's proceedings. That's coming up after 4 o'clock, proceedings closing for the day at 4. We're going to look back on an important issue that came up in Parliament. People often ask, well, what happens to all these public servants who are involved, and there seems to be evidence coming out of structures like this Special Investigating Unit involved in the misuse of public money. Let's just put it in a bland fashion. And the figures in Parliament are really alarming as to how many people actually bear any consequences. For example, moving away from public servants, I think 467 companies were identified as being involved in this kind of malpractice. How many have been blacklisted? 1.
I was going to say 0.
466 to go.
Wow.
So I guess 1 is a start. It's more than none, but it's not very many. We'll talk about that in some detail at 10 minutes to 4. Palo court case is underway. Thabiso Goba is out there. And getting back to the state of our public service, a presentation to Parliament about what Treasury plans to do about ghost workers. Quite a lot of ghost workers. There are more ghost workers than blacklisted companies, for example.
This is the
that we maybe are not making the headway we should.
This is the part that I don't understand. Why is it so difficult to trace the ghost workers? Like, is it not a simple thing of just doing who do we have and then just verifying with the accounts? Like, this is the part I don't get. Is it not a simple and easy thing to maybe say, okay, on Friday, everybody, you're getting, come and sign in person for your salary. And then it's done. Whoever didn't come, like, this is I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I hope to be wiser after 3, but I can't promise.
I hope to be wiser too. 702 Drive with John Perlman coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. This thing of ghost salaries, I am confused. I am confused. (21 minutes to 3 o'clock), and we continue with our masterclass that we're having together with Standard Bank Private on smarter financial decisions during economic pressures. And we're together with Senior Manager, National Internal Sales at Standard Bank, Muthusi Dire. Your calls on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Muthusi, just in terms of, we've spoken about consumer behavior, the trends. We've spoken about how Standard Bank Private is supporting its clients with some of these shifts and some of the things that you are doing. I just want us to talk about this Live Wealthier campaign and this offer that you guys have out there, because I'm sure there are people that are listening and really, really would love to get something new. But what is this thing that you guys are offering off of select vehicle brands?
Yeah, so thanks a lot. We are working with some of the manufacturers, so I'm not gonna let the cat out the bag for now. It's something that
So something's coming.
Something is cooking. Something is in the pot. Something is in the kitchen. We are really excited. It's really going to be a cool offer, I think, for our customers coming up in the month of October. And I think the nice part about this is we are going into the December. I always say, the December it's that energetic time of the year where people reward themselves for really hard work. People want to really celebrate their kids who have just completed their varsity studies. People are looking forward to say, my child was in matric. What is it that I can do for them as a gift to say thank you for the last 12 years, or even more if they managed to have, I guess, or I'm not managed, if they did have some bit of slightness somewhere in terms of the junior school days and take that into the varsity. So it is going to be a very unique tailor-made solution, for Standard Bank customers, and we're looking forward to that. We're absolutely excited. So please be on the lookout, from our social media platforms. We'll definitely come back and then inform you that we have gone live and this is what it looks like. It's super, super exciting, and I really, really cannot wait for this baby to come through.
All right, so we will stay tuned to the socials and make sure that you guys are the first to know about this deal that will be coming through. Now, when we talk about vehicles, are people actually committing to them long term? I share it so often that my last 3 cars only got changed because they died. Like I needed my car dies, and then I'm like, okay, fine. Now I'll change cars. But this is a new time we're living in. We haven't even really seen the longevity of some of the cars and brands that are out there.
Yeah. So I guess it is also another combination of factors when one looks at that. So there are consumers who are saying, I just want an element of mobility to move from A to B, and as a result, I'll get maybe a smaller vehicle, right? And then they will then hang on to that. And there are those who are saying, I actually use this vehicle actively, for me to be active in the economy, and it could be moving me from A to B. I'm taking it to clients. So they are generally a high mileage, consumer. So what we then tend to see is that you do have those who are then get to let go of that particular vehicle and not more. So from the replacement cycle perspective that we actually observe, we're actually seeing that most of the consumers, as the within the 4.5 years to 5 years old now. Historically, they used to be almost like 3.5 years people. So that we are seeing it, going a bit higher. So that means that South Africans are actually hanging on to their vehicles a lot more longer than what we actually used to see, in a couple of years ago. The other component really that comes into that is what I spoke about earlier from the after-sale perspective. So how much is it, costing you more? Because probably you don't longer have a service plan, although we do offer an extended service plan and extended warranty from Standard Bank perspective. But customers might not have a service plan. Customers might no longer have a warranty. So it becomes a lot more heavy from the pocket perspective. And customers will say, let me rather go and finance, a new set of wheels that will also, make sure that I am not only spending less, because again, by virtue of, we spoke about cash is key. You want to spend less as much as possible so you can go and invest that particular amount, right? Then we do have another type of customers who are explorers. Every facelift, every new set of
They're
wheels,
there.
they are there. They are
The same of the people who keep waiting for the new iPhone, the new Samsung. They are you are that person. Mutusi. Mutusi's on the floor laughing because I know, guys, just be happy with what you have. You're in the cult, ne? I knew it. You're in that queue when the new phone drops.
we got to embrace. And I always say, when you have some sort of assets that you are looking after,
Yes.
there will be assets that you are taking a very passive, position on them.
Yes.
And there will be assets that you are taking a very active, position on them. So really, life is all about the balance, right? and you got to enjoy it while you're there.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I already see some of your questions coming through. 011 883 0702 in the WhatsApp line. 072 702 1702. I just realized I'm not on your profile. I'm logged on to. So I was wondering why it is that things are not being filtered. I'm just going to stay here for now.
Okay, let's listen to a question because the headphones there for you. Please.
Oh, flip.
Yeah.
Dude, my bionic just froze. Okay.
Okay.
I was trying to. So it's.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can play it on the floor, or in the room. Just the, okay. Yeah, we'll do it then.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
But it's fine. You can put your headphones on.
Yeah.
Let's walk the talk.
This is the story of a hen who slain no chicken.
I'm really iPhone 17 order.
Kissed by
Nothing's different. Oh my god, in go iPhone 17. Okay, what is that one? What is that?
yours to choose.
So okay, this is a 16, eh? But when I was forced to upgrade. This is my 13, which I use now for streaming and content. Prior to this, it was this is 14, but because I had to buy a second phone, and then before this was 11, and before that was 8. 8 plus. No, like now in the era of content, I had to buy more phones, but my rule is I buy cash.
So if you buy cash, because of the work that I do, I have to take executive package because of unlimited calls. I got
Hamba wena. Executive. I'm gonna come work there by Standard Bank before December. Get all a bonus.
I've seen Bongani facilitate some of them. It's artistic.
Aki, no.
Okay. Because I've seen you doing some of the functions as well.
Now I've been doing your woman stuff and CIB.
Yeah, you see.
Book your resort.
You're saying you're giving me gigs. Now it's talking about free money. Why must I work? Gig.
There's no such thing as freelance.
Why though?
Stand by.
You're experiencing the vision, purpose, and success on the masterclass with the
You've got the voice note ready now. Okay, I'll come to it just now. 12 minutes to 3 o'clock. We continue with our masterclass together with Standard Bank Private, and we are chatting in studio with our guest Muthusi Dire, Senior Manager, National Internal Sales at Standard Bank. We take your calls on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. We have a question.
Good afternoon, Slebo. Can you please ask your guest from Standard Bank what new funding models are they thinking or coming up with at Standard Bank for e-hailing drivers or people that do not have pay slips per se?
What a good question, because we know that the pay slip has been the holy grail for a long time, but more and more people are working in the freelance game, in the commission-based game. Are there new opportunities, Muthusi, for individuals that don't have pay slips? Are there funding models? How is Standard Bank really trying to adapt in this space?
Yeah, thanks for the question. We do have a solution in place for our sole proprietors, for our self-employed individuals, for commission earners. And from the process perspective, so you can originate your desire to finance an asset via our SBG mobile app, or you can actually go onto our website, standardbank.co.za, or you can even visit our branches or even our relationship manager. So all of those channels will be able to assist you. What we need in terms of really facilitating it, please ensure that you do have a copy of the vehicle that you're interested in financing. And secondly, if you don't have a payslip, provide us with a 6 months bank statement. If you bank with Standard Bank, there's no need for you to be providing that bank statement because we can source them internally. But should you then be a multi-bank customers, we will obviously need to see where those income streams are actually coming from. So there is a solution in terms of today. So we are able to assist customers who are self-employed as well as the sole proprietor. And I think from the e-holding perspective, we do have a solution in place in terms of today. The customers that are interested, in the likes of the e-holding service, we do welcome those particular applications. There is a process that we follow purely because there are certain regulatory that we need to adhere to. So as an example, an operating license, we cannot assist you from e-holding perspective. You don't have an operating license. You also need to have your public driver's license. Right?
Oh, so the criteria
the
now,
criteria is there.
you have to disclose to say, I am doing this for e-hailing services. This is what the business is. Please finance me on the basis of these estimates of blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Correct. So the solution is there for customers. And I guess if they really need more, then they can visit our website under the vehicle finance tab. They should be able to find additional information there.
All right, we've got another voice note on 072 702 1702. We should be having another voice note, but let me quickly see. The question here that the person was asking is, why is it difficult to get home loan financing, but so easy to get vehicle financing?
So when you look at those are two assets that majority of South Africans are looking for, right? And I wouldn't necessarily say it's difficult to get home loan financing, purely because from Standard Bank perspective, we are a #1 market shareholder from home loan perspective. So when you look at that particular market share, it's actually saying that we are enabling South Africans to have a roof over their head. So I would encourage the customer to really either visit our branches or they speak to their relationship manager, just really to try and understand where they stay. Because at the end of the day, we are guided by the National, Credit Act in terms of our lending criteria. If the customer does qualify, I don't see any reason why I'm saying no. But if the customer doesn't qualify, we're also open to discuss as to what are the reasons that make you not to qualify, for a particular home loan.
Okay, and then in terms of living wealthier, what does that mean for South Africans who are now navigating these rising costs and financial pressures? Is it, if somebody were to say to me, I'm living debt free, I'd be like, when are you wealthy? What does that mean from your perspective?
And I always say it varies from individual to individual. But when you asking me what does it mean from my perspective, I do think, one, we do encourage South Africans to really save for rainy days, because we all don't know as to when will that come through. And then the second part is really just to try and review where you can living standards, right? So what is it that you can pull back on? Are you able, to have some element of substitution? Instead of going for a certain drink, can you go for another drink? And I do think that will then enable you. And I guess those solutions are there through our relationship banking managers, and we also do have wealth advisors that can actually take the South Africans on the journey in terms of what is it that we can do. Every single rand is just as important. So whether it means it is the case of putting it into a savings account, whether it means that I'm going to buy some shares, with that particular rand. Whether it means actually I'm going to let go of the vehicle that I'm driving now, which is quite a bit more rough on the pocket, and then go for a smaller one, right? And that again, it's just a movement of you want mobility, you want to free up your cash. So those financial decisions become quite important when South Africans really evaluate. And I think the other thing is also look at from like I said from Standard Bank perspective as far as the insurance is concerned. You might say, I do have an insurance somewhere. Give us a call. Let's do a competitive quote. Let's see what that could that save you a rent or two. And if it does, we always say Bob is your uncle. So that in itself it becomes a relevant part in terms of having to review. So I think overall it calls for us as South Africans to review where we are. How can we save? But we are only not looking after ourselves or for the now, but we are talking about the wealth generation, for more years to come, and for you to have a proper legacy. And I think that the other pieces, when we speak about financial planners, they have such great instruments that I do think can enable many of the South Africans as far as wealth is concerned.
All right, we've got a caller. We've got a Sheikh from Pretoria. Sheikh, how are you? So, Sheikh, just to give a disclaimer, I'm gonna check with our guest, but he doesn't necessarily specialize in this department. Also, we cannot give financial advice over radio. There's so much information we don't have access to that would allow for a more a specific to your son response, because we don't know the credit state, we don't know a whole lot of other factors. But Sheikh, from your experience, if a person, let's ask it this way, if a person is coming to Standard Bank and they say, I don't have a payslip, I don't have a this, what would you advise they should bring with them as ammo for a better case as to why a person who might be looked at as high risk because you don't have a stable income for applying? And let's make it financing in general, not just houses, like cars as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Sheikh, for that. So I think, Sheikh, the first piece that I would really reach out is to say, go to our nearest branch, and then they should be able to guide in terms of, what is it that's available from the home loan perspective there. But I think the second part, which is more in general, I did mention earlier on to say the bank statement becomes your first start, and then where you are able to have a set of financials that shows to say this is the movement that's actually coming through into your business, right? And this is provided you are self-employed and not necessarily a registered entity. So if you are able to say, I am a self-employed, I am a sole proprietor, here is the set of financials, then that becomes another mechanism that we bring in as an additional documentation. I think then you look at the asset that you want to purchase. What you do have the offer to purchase there, or a certain of an offer, be it for a car, be it for a home loan. That offer, obviously, it does give us an indication in terms of where your interest lies, and then how best we can actually work with you. But I do think holistically, the intent really of Standard Bank, if you are to look at our mission statement, is that Africa is our home and we drive her growth. So the intention really is to make sure that we solution for as many South Africans, for as many Africans as much as possible. But again, like I've mentioned, there is a regulatory in terms of how we operate everywhere, and we are guided by both the NCR as well as really treating the customer fairly, and then in addition to that, from the FSCA perspective.
We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Muthusi, for chatting to us. Head over to standardbank.co.za if you want to ask more questions. There's a financing tab there, and of course, you can get in touch. Now, catch us again next week on the Masterclass with me, brought to you by Standard Bank Private on 702. We'll be delving into the journeys of extraordinary individuals who are designing a wealthier life, making smart financial moves that build legacies just like you can with the right partner, because Standard Bank Private understands that success goes beyond numbers. It's about living a fuller, wealthier life with vision, purpose, and personalized support every step of your journey. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take photos.
Are we able to get the number of that guy?
Which one?
Sheikh.
Yeah.
We can phone him.
Pash, will you get Sheikh's details for Muthusi? He wants to get in touch with him. I just remembered I don't have a car. Sometimes I forget. I go to the basement and I'm like, where's my car? And then I'm like, I did not come with a car. Exactly. No, because sometimes you just want to be productive in the car. T, please. Tell it. I get it there. Now you're going to lawyer myself driving car. No, so I want to babang by this and then we'll recabona after. Yes.
I mean, we're discussing that by virtue of Microsoft coming on board, they starting to start looking at that. If you bring Tesla into the equation, people like your HP.
Out of principle, I wouldn't support Tesla.
Yeah,
because my guy.
White House.
Oh my gosh, I'm so late for news. I'm literally just gonna say it's 3 o'clock. Sorry, Posh, please go apologize in advance for time. No, I hear you. Look, that time is getting there. We are literally